yes when that thing pops up saying this is being recorded, and we are going to go ahead and begin. So my name is Bill Pike. I am the coordinator for Arizona MESA, and I'm here with my compatriot / partner in crime, Manny Leone. And we want to present an activity that we have used that's a good way to start getting students to identify inequities within their spaces. And the nice thing about this activity is that it is malleable. So we're going to present it in a certain way. You can change it to be whatever you want it to be. And we are going to share this presentation and the Jamboard that we're going to use with you so that you can go ahead and make a copy of it and modify it to fit whatever your needs are. Right? So we call this one I Wish. You'll see why very soon. So here we go. Right. So the whole purpose of this is to identify, is to help students identify what are some of those inequities that they're encountering. Because we know that when a project makes a lot is something that students can really relate to, they're going to make more connection with it. So you're going to play the role of students today. So here we go. Right. So the first thing I want you to do is in the chat, what is your definition of innovation? So go ahead and take about 30 seconds and go ahead and drop that into the chat.
Thank you.
Creation is a good one. Creative ways to solve problems using multiple methods, new answers to old problems, making something situation better. New ideas. New and relevant. So there's a lot of different definitions coming in with this. So in order to frame what we're talking about here, we want to all start with sort of a standard definition. And so the Cambridge Dictionary defines it as a new idea or method. And so that really is super broad. So innovation can be anything that we want it to be, right? You know, and one of the nice things about what we're doing here is that we're working within something that continues to innovate. So, you know, I wish, notice a small I, we're very obviously stealing this from the iPhone. And I think we're at like 12 or 13 now. I'm an Android user, so I don't know. But you know, they keep
14.
14. Oh, silly me. So they keep innovating what they're doing, and they keep trying to work to make it better. And that's really what innovation we want to think of that idea. It's just a new idea or a method. Right? So what we want you to do is we're going to start a little bit individually. So think about a problem or an issue that affects your community. You know, so that community we're going to define as the feeling of fellowship with others as a result of shared common attitudes, interests, or goals. And we're going to give you about 5 minutes to do that. So think about your community. And we are members of lots of different communities as well, too. There's family communities, work communities, neighborhood communities, whatever those communities are. So think about some of those problems or issues that are affecting your community and write them down. This is an individual space. We're going to give you about 5 minutes to come up with as many issues or problems that are affecting you in your communities.
Yep, quick brainstorm, just jot down as many ideas as you can. And they don't have to be super detailed. You know, we can in the next step you'll probably flesh those out a little bit more, but just kind of jot some quick things down.
So 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Bill, my computer died. What do you need me to do?
So we've got about 2 minutes left. Start coming up with ideas of problems or issues that are affecting you and your community. And this
Oh,
is an individual thing right now.
okay. So we're just brainstorming.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
One minute. All right. So that's been our 5 minutes. So what I'd like you to do now is take one of your ideas and put it into the chat. But it's something that affects my community right now is that all the snowbirds are coming in from Wisconsin and Minnesota. If you don't know what snowbirds are, they're people who travel for winter. And we have a lot of them. And so there's a lot of health issues happening right now for them. And I think in the last week, I've had an ambulance on my street 3 different times. Alcohol, homelessness, mental issues, affordable housing. Food, yard waste recycling. And what's interesting as we're doing this is that for the last several years, MESA has been focusing on the 17 UN sustainability goals. And these things that you're putting into the chat also tie into the UN sustainability goals. And so as we're talking about things, as we're ideating, and we're talking about things like housing, health issues, recycling. These are all things that the UN has said these are huge issues in our world right now, and we want to make sure that we're addressing them. Water issues, so drought. These are things that we want to make sure that we're addressing. And MESA is moving into the space of saying we're thinking globally but acting locally. So these UN goals are a great thing to be able to talk to students about and say, hey, look, these things that we're facing are happening worldwide. So what we create in our space for our communities can also be used by other people in other communities. And so there's a lot of that tying in. Yes, we're in our own little shells and our own little communities, but it ties into the larger spaces there too. Right. So now moving on to the next thing, we're going to put you into break rooms of 3 to 4 people. And I think right now we have 11 people in here, so it'll probably be 3 to 4. Right. So share your ideas, and then as a group, we want you to come up with a answer the question that I wish a cell phone could blank, and you are going to decide the blank. So give me a second here to create the breakout rooms.
Yeah, so again, ideas kind of take some of those ideas that we had, as a group, pick one that you would like to address, and that could be addressed with a cell phone.
And so the rooms are ready. You'll have 5 minutes as a room. So please make sure you share and come up with an answer to that question before we pull you back in. So you should see the thing, join your breakout rooms.
Did you want folks to have the Jamboard in their breakouts, Bill?
Not yet. So I want them to be able to answer the question, and then I'm going to
Just
give them the Jamboard.
Discussion right now.
Right. And then
Okay.
because I know what's going to happen. They're going to hey, look, we've got this Jamboard. We need to
Start
start doing stuff
creating.
with Jamboard. Yeah. So
Right. Okay. And then we just how much time are you giving them? 5 minutes?
5 minutes. Yeah.
Cool. And we just let them talk, or do we want to pop in and just check in on folks?
I figure let them talk. And then
Okay.
and after we give them the Jamboard, then I figured that's going to be the time for us to pop in and talk to them just to make sure they're in there. They're all in the same thing. They're all whatever. So,
Okay. Yeah, that works.
yeah. So nice time to stand up and take care of some of the stuff I didn't take care of in our lunch break.
All right.
I'll be right back.
Sounds good. Oh, that was a good scoring chance there.
I don't have the game on in here.
Yeah, well, what's nice about my office is I've got my screen here, and then I got a TV here. So I have it on mute. I just kind of just peek up at it every now and then.
Yeah. See, I don't have the ability to do that. Otherwise, my back would have to be against a window. Like,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, well, but that's my problem. And it's really the only place I can put the desk in this room is my back. So I had to close all the drapes and actually turn on lights in here. I can't use the natural light. Otherwise, I get all grayed out.
Yeah. Well, I have to turn the light on in mine too because my window it's not a big window, but it's centrally located. So
Ah,
it's like great. So if I'm sitting my back to it, I'm grayed out. But if I don't turn on the light, I can't see.
right. Like, who designed this house?
Yeah. Wait, this is the house that I had designed for me. No, it's my own fault. Damn it. I'm the only person that's ever lived in this house.
Right. Well, it's funny because I was talking to Kelsey when we went to that AZ STEM adventure, and her parents designed her house, right? And everybody in her family is fairly tall. So like all the counters and everything in the bathrooms, kitchens, like everything's taller so that it fits them. So other people come over and we're like, he said like friend come over, was like, I wanted to, just hop up on this counter, but it's too high for me to jump up on.
Yeah.
And when her taller friends come over, like, this is nice.
Well, what's funny is that my mom's she's now 4'11", but
Right.
she used to be 5 feet. So when she redesigned her kitchen, she's like, everything is lower. Everything is lower.
Right. My height, dang it, my kitchen.
Yeah. All this needs to be on pneumatics. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close the breakout rooms.
Okay.
Hey, Paul, long time no see.
Hey, how you doing, Bill?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good.
Yeah.
Good
Why is
evening.
why is Utah wrecking everything in the Pac-12? They beat USC, football beat us in basketball.
Yeah, I heard, yeah. We're having a pretty good year. And we'll see what we can do against Penn State.
Yeah.
Right.
That's going to be a tough game.
Here they come.
Hi, Manny. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Paul. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
All right. So we're all back. So now what we want to do is actually have you take your answer to that question and start creating a initial prototype. And this is a sketch of a prototype. So we're going to give you a Jamboard. Give me just a second to grab that link. Right. The link is in the chat. Right. And so what we want you to do is come up with what is the name of the app? What is its purpose? So it's really what's the purpose based on the answer to your question, and then have some graphical fun. And when I say graphical fun, I mean, what's the app going to do? What does it look like? Is it going to be one of those apps where it's just the one screen and then you scroll through? Are you going to click on stuff? Is it going to go to other things? So have some fun with it. Make it be your app. Make it be something that would be functional for you in whatever the answer to the question is. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you about 20 minutes to do this within that Jamboard. And then at the end of that 20 minutes, you're going to have a spokesperson and we're going to project up the apps and they're going to give a quick 2-minute elevator pitch for it. Okay. So you might say, but wait, there's a bunch of stuff in that Jamboard. What do we do? So whatever breakout room you're in, that's whatever your group will be. So if you're in breakout room 1, you're group 1. If you're breakout room 2, you're group 2, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So any questions about what your task is going to be for the next 20 minutes? Okay, so what I'm going to do then is open up the breakout rooms again, and I'll bring you back at 1:55 Arizona time, and then you'll be able to present. Right. So
And they should be
rooms are-
going back to their same rooms, right? Bill?
Yes, you're going back to your same rooms. And they're off.
All right. I said Paul's by himself right now.
Oh,
So I don't know if we lost people. Did we lose people?
we must have.
It
Because
was,
there
I
were-
think, who was it? It was like a James and I'm gonna join Paul's room and ask him.
Yeah. If anything, we could put them into room 1, and there'd be 4 people in each room.
Okay.
Great.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to tell you that I did give the ability for everyone to screen share. So if one of you wants to share the screen and work that way, it's entirely up to you. I just want to ask if you have any questions before I pop back out again.
I don't
Yeah,
think I have any questions, but thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
actually, I do have a question. Did you say that we have to sketch something on a Jamboard?
Right. So that link that I put into the chat earlier is the link to the Jamboard. And since
Okay,
we're in
got it.
yeah, since we're in room 2, you'd be group 2.
Thanks.
This app is called this app is called the Finder. This will help homeless individuals find resources at their current location. There's different icons. For example, there's the hot meal one, the legal, housing, water, medical, restrooms, and the last one is a food bank. They would fill out a profile. Sorry. They would fill out a profile, and that would only be shareware, for example, the medical. If someone needed an ambulance, when they find one, that information, maybe they have allergies, or maybe they have medication, or maybe something that the EMTs or fire department will need to know when they're treating them. That's our pitch. Please get the Finder. Don't be lost.
Don't be lost.
All right, awesome.
Like it.
Yeah, I like it too. Just out of curiosity, what was the QR code symbol for again?
The QR. Sorry, someone's trying to call me. The QR code is, for example, if you're new to a city and you have no idea, these QR codes would be all over, like, for example, downtown. Like the icon for the food will have a QRC code at the bottom. So you can scan it and it will tell you, again, it will show you where you're at and where the closest free food or free meal would be. So the QR code is like, for example, so I'll go to a bus stop and I see a QRC code that says food, and then I would use that QRC code to find my way. The QRC code reader.
All right. Any other questions for group 1? Okay, let's go over to group 2.
Great job, group 1.
Yes,
I like
good
it.
job. All right, group 2. Group 2, who is your spokesman?
We didn't decide on one, but a lot of these good ideas. If any of you would like to help out, I think Jamie came up with a lot of these ideas. Would you like to share? Okay, so we have this app and we named it Roof. We're just trying to think of a synonym for shelter. And it turns out there already is an app similar to that out there. I asked the question of how do homeless people have cell phones and data plans and things like that. And apparently in another state, which state was it? They are given cell phones. And I thought maybe the audience for this app could also be social workers or other people who would like to connect or collaborate together to solve problems, because it is a complex issue that it requires a lot of different organizations to communicate, to work together. And even although an app may not solve homelessness in itself, bringing people together and connecting people together, which is what phones are really good at doing, internet. Oh, excuse me. That was my phone. Sorry. it's a really good way to connect people together to solve problems, campus like schools, local government offices, resource centers, community centers. Maybe there's a way they can utilize this program or app to help facilitate or to help make it more simpler to try to solve this problem. And it's kind of the same idea as group one. Group one was very visually appealing because they were embedded images. We just have a lot of text here, getting resources to the individuals. And then maybe, that idea is just, they don't have food and shelter. So here's food and shelter. But again, maybe the problem may be more complex. And so maybe, the idea of connecting people together to problem solve and do research maybe or something to see what exactly is the problem, identifying that first before coming up with a solution. But I think we don't know that much. So we're just thinking, well, they need resources and here is an app that can show them some resources. But I'm thinking using it to connect people to work together and investigate and solve a problem could be useful too. I don't know. That was a little bit abstract. Sorry. That was just unprepared. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So any questions for group two? One thing that I found interesting is that two separate groups and you're both addressing the same problem and you're coming at it from different spaces. And what's funny is that during both presentations, your own phones went off. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen right here. So this is why I like this activity, is that it gives people a chance to kind of think about what are the things that they're seeing. And then our next step would be, all right, you've come up with this, you've got these ideas, now go out and find somebody, now go out and talk to somebody. In this case, it's people who are homeless. And then ask them about that. Ask them about what those challenges are that they face. Ask them about what are those things that they need when they're in their spaces, the things that they would like to see. Because that's really the whole crux of this problem, is that we need to identify it, which we have, and then we need to go talk to people who are affected by it. And kids sometimes don't know what it is and don't know what to ask and don't have an idea of like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. But this is a nice way to be able to start getting those ideas flowing and saying, okay, you've identified something. Is this something you want to address? All right, let's go find someone. And that's where we as a teacher can say, all right, I can help you find someone, or I happen to know someone, or here's a resource, or whatever that happens to be, depending on whatever it happens to be. The next thing that I want to make sure that we talk about is, we did it in terms of a cell phone because that's what we did in Arizona. It doesn't have to necessarily be in a cell phone. We asked a question at the beginning. I would like a cell phone that could insert blank here. We could say, I would like a device that could insert blank here. I would like to address this issue because insert blank here. So it's a very malleable sort of space. But the whole idea behind it is we want students to start thinking about it. And this is that push to get them to start thinking about what are they seeing in terms of their own spaces for inequities or things that are problems in their communities that need to be addressed. And so I'm curious is, how would you use something like this? Would you use something like this? And feel free to say no, because it doesn't work for everybody. But also, how could this help you within your own spaces to be able to build this?
I think this is a good idea. I was also interested that the two groups came up with about the same thing. I know I'm in group one, we didn't put clothing down, and I noticed group two had clothing. Those are the basic needs: food, clothing, shelter. I have students that are homeless. I'm not sure which ones are, but I had one last year that they told me they were homeless. So we could, I could tell my MESA students, hey, you could talk to this person to find out what it feels like to be homeless and what they need.
Yeah, you know, and we know that I think sometimes students might be uncomfortable approaching folks, or students may not, be willing to talk about their experiences. But I think that's where you can also engage other, like the school counselors, who typically have access to resources and have some information, right? Or shelters or other organizations that do work with homeless folks, could provide some good information. If you feel it might be difficult to have students engage in those conversations, like either the student is not comfortable or it'd be hard to facilitate those meetings. There's always different ways to kind of gather that information, but I think the important thing is just really helping them think about their community and finding those. And it's funny, I think when we've done this in the past, there was always a few groups that would have similar ideas. And I think it's because they are thinking about what affects my community, right? And so people are going to have similar thoughts, right? What's happening currently? And you will see a lot of commonalities come up, and people will approach it different ways, which is really neat to see.
And
The
I
other
think
thing good, and the other thing good about these apps is that a lot of the assistance organizations have a lot of turnover of staff. And this would be a great way to give something to the staff to assist their clients.
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things that I always like to say is that MESA is all about the kids coming up with the ideas and coming up with their solutions for it. But as a teacher, sometimes it's very difficult to be like, wait, you did what? I don't know. But this kind of helps a little bit frame what they're thinking, so that as the teacher, you can help facilitate whatever that next step is that they might need. Which is, I mean, that's always great when we're teaching. So, does anybody else have anything else they want to add? And Mike, I appreciate your comment in the chat too.
I was going to say, this app could also be used for people who want to volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I want to volunteer at the local food bank, but I don't know where they're at. So I'm gonna look it up according to my location and go and go spend my volunteering time there. That's what I want to do that day.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be for both people from both sides of the problem.
Right.
And that's sometimes the power of innovation, is that it's intended for one audience, but then a whole different audience can use it because there's another application that's unintended, but an awesome consequence from that. So
Right. And I think an important part of innovation too is, like, I think we heard from group 2, right, that sometimes, like, oh, well, there's already something similar out there, right? But innovation isn't about creating something that no one's ever created before. It's about creating, a new idea, a new method, right? So that you may be able to offer something different, right? Or is it linking these different pieces that how can you improve upon an idea is part of innovation. So sometimes students get stuck on, like, oh, I have to come up with something completely brand new that no one's ever thought of. I'm like, well, that's not necessarily the point, right? Are you able to offer something that's better or improved, or that takes a different look at that problem? And so that's important for students to know sometimes too, as they're struggling. They might be struggling with how to come up with an idea for the national competition.
and really one of the nice things is this generation of current middle and high school students really care about their community, but sometimes they don't know what to do. And so this is another way to help facilitate that entry into spaces where they're like, I want to do something, but I don't know what. Okay, well, here, let's work through our way through an activity. Maybe this can inspire you. Hopefully, knock on wood, that it can.
Yeah. And again, I think sometimes, as advisors, take a look at the national competition website and some of the projects that students came up with, just at the national level, right? There's a lot of great ideas, but we only really get to see broadly the ones that make it to the national competition. But there's some great examples of students who are like, we looked at our community and we found an issue that affected, it could be broader, but like something that was really close to home and important to them, and developed a solution. And then of course that solution, right? You think locally, act globally. You could see how their ideas could be applied in a lot of different areas, in different places. But they were really focused on their community when they come up with those ideas. And some of them are just really inspiring. There's some great ideas out there.
And so we're close to out of time. And I always like to be respectful of everybody's time, so I don't like to run over. But one of the things that I want to make sure that you know is that all the information here is going to be shared with you at some point next week. I don't know when, but it will be shared with you. And so all this information here is you're going to have. But if you're ever like, hey, I've got a question or something like that, you can always feel free to reach out to myself or Manny. I'm putting my email and Manny's in the chat, so that if you have a question or if you have a comment, you can definitely reach out to us. But really, the whole thing that we want to make sure. Oops, sorry, the Leon should be Manny's. But one thing that we always want to make sure that we're doing is we're keeping the kids engaged, and we're keeping the kids doing something that, while it is tied to the national competition, is also tied to something bigger than that. Because we know that our students are amazing and they have a lot of great ideas. It's just giving them a little bit of a push, a little bit of help to make those reality. And so that's part of the idea of like this I Wish competition tying into the national competition, tying into something more. And maybe it will inspire them. Hopefully it will inspire them. And then who knows what's going to happen, but we know that they're going to be better off for it.
Yep.
And so with that, I would like to thank everyone for joining us. And then at 2:30, we're back in the main room for the closing ceremonies.
Thank
Is
you.
it 2:30 or 2:20?
All right, thank you.
2:20? Is
Yeah,
it 2:20 or
2:20.
2? Oh, 2:20. All right. So in 5 minutes, not 15 minutes.
Yes, 5.